Oh boy, new fragrances from Amouage again. We've got Amouage, Kayali, Moncler, Roja, Mise en Cire, Celine, and a bunch of other brands dropping new fragrances. And I'm going to talk to you about them today in this video. Make sure you stick around till after the outro. In the bonus section, I'm going to talk to you about two brands dropping a big group, big collection of fragrances all at once and all coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. There are a bunch of new fragrances that are soon to drop. Hopefully these will land before Christmas, because I'm sure these are going to make great Christmas gifts to somebody out there who loves perfume. But let's go ahead and get started right away. This is going to be a long video. And don't forget to stick around till after the outro for the bonus fragrances. But also I'm going to air those videos separately. You can catch them individually as well after this one airs. So first off, Amouage has two fragrances for men and women. As usual, they drop fragrances for men and women. We've got Amouage Crystal and Gold Man, and of course Crystal and Gold Woman. Both of the fragrances are created by Alexandra Carlin from Simrise, I believe. And these are reimaginings of older classic fragrances, and they've put them in the most beautiful bottles. And from what I remember, these used to be around, those bottles, so now they're coming back. I think they're limited edition 500 bottles. Don't quote me on that. I'm sure they're going to be priced really, really high. I don't have the price yet. I didn't check their website. I should have, but I didn't think these were quite launched yet. But the men's fragrance looks like it's Gold Man. Aldehydes, Jasmine, Frankincense, Sandalwood, Patchouli, Civet, and a bunch of other notes. I don't see the Lily of the Valley listed, but this is a newer discovery for me, and I absolutely love Gold Man, so I'm really curious about this one, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get my hands on it. And then we've got Gold Woman. I haven't really gotten my nose on this one, but it is an aldehydic fragrance with Neroli, Amber, Civet, Jasmine, Vetiver, Frankincense, and a bunch of other notes. So are you guys curious about these two fragrances? We haven't really seen Dia 40 and Jubilation 40 yet here in the States. I did get to sample them in Dubai, but they haven't made it here yet. So I'm quite curious for these, but as I said, these are going to be so limited edition, I doubt I'm going to get my hands on them. But let me know if you guys are curious about these two. Are they going to be very expensive? So I'm just seeing the info about a new version of CARON's Pour un Homme de CARON. It says CARON Pour un Homme de CARON 2022. And I'm just seeing this on the databases, in the databases. So has it gone through a change? I wasn't aware of this, but I kind of was. I actually bought 2 bottles of CARON's Pour un Homme de CARON at a perfume shop in France earlier this year, around March. I bought one in a gift set that was discounted heavily, and then one in a bottle. I mean, in a box. The one in the gift set was a brand new bottle, and look at the color. Look at this color. It's gone very kind of neon blue-green. But the original, from what I remember, is this. So the one in the box is this, which is the color I remember. So this is the newer version. So is this CARON Pour un Homme de CARON 2022? It doesn't smell much different, although the lavender seems a bit more amped up. This version, the lavender, and it's a bit more ambery, but according to my notes, it's lavender, wild lavender, lavender extract, vanilla, Opoponax, musk, Styrax, Turkish rose. So perhaps that's the change, because I bought this earlier this year, and it does say 2022, so maybe they've changed it, and the color is different, obviously. The smell is a little different, but very close though. So if anybody has the details on that, do put a comment down. Moving on to Bon Parfumeur. I haven't spoken about this house much on the channel. They have a new fragrance. It's 304 Cumin Fleur d'Amandier Cedre. I think that's how you say it. So it's cumin and almond flower with cedar. So it's cedarwood, vetiver, heliotrope, almond blossom, cumin, geranium, black pepper, ginger, created by Flipo. Who's a fan of this house, Bon Parfumeur? I think they do have some great fragrances. They are on the budget side. I haven't really paid too much attention to them, but I'm quite curious, and I do enjoy cumin in fragrances. I haven't really smelled it against almond blossom. Sounds pretty interesting to me. So Moncler has 2 new fragrances for men and women. These are in the regular line, not the high-end collection that they launched last year. Sunrise Pour Homme and Sunrise Pour Femme. Unfortunately, these don't sound really that exciting, although I just need to get my nose on them because I enjoyed the first two bottles or the first two fragrances and they were fun with the neon light on them. I'm kind of curious because I'm kind of intrigued by the sound of the fragrances, but both of the fragrances are created by 4 different perfumers, so that usually doesn't mean like the fragrances are going to be great. Sometimes they're really great, sometimes they're really not that great. So the men's version features patchouli, vetiver, frankincense, nutmeg, sage, suede, bergamot, lemon, and pink pepper. Has anybody gotten their nose on these yet? Do let me know. Put a comment down below. But does it excite you? Do you like it when perfumers, like multiple perfumers, are on one for fragrance? Have you enjoyed fragrances that 4 different creative styles come together to create a fragrance? Sometimes I feel like the fragrances don't end up as great because 4 different minds create something that's not very enjoyable. But sometimes there's there's cases where they are great. But I've noticed in designer world, when there are a lot of different perfumers in one fragrance, creating one fragrance, they tend to end up being not the best. But maybe these will be great. And then the Parfum, same perfumers, 4 of them. We've got Antoine Maisondieu, Christophe Reynaud, Quinton Biche, and Jordi Fernandez for both of these fragrances. Cedar, Sandalwood, Amber, Jasmine, Freesia, Lily of the Valley, Peony, Grapefruit, Pear, Violet Leaves. Did you guys enjoy the first 2 Moncler fragrances? Do let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. Yeah, I'm curious to smell these, even though I might think that they're not going to be the best. But the perfumers themselves are fairly great perfumers, and they do great work on their own. Moving on to the house of Jacques Fat. Once again, we have another fragrance created by Jean-Christophe Herol. He created Vetiver Gris, and now we've got Jasmine de Toscane. I've actually gotten my nose on this one. Quite the gorgeous jasmine fragrance, and they have 3 different varieties of jasmine here, along with benzoin and hazelnuts, sinfonide, freesia, grapefruit, and Tunisian petitgrain. It'll be a great fresh fruity, not fruity, but citrus floral fragrance. But moving on to Kayali, we've got Eden Sparkling Lychee 39. I actually got my nose on this one as well, created by Gabriella Cellaru, and it features notes of vanilla, amber, cedar, musk, sandalwood, jasmine, candied violet, damask rose, red apples, black currant, Italian lemons, and lychee fruit. It's very fruity fragrance. Are you guys fans of fruity fragrances? Are you a fan of Kayali's fragrances? Let me know. It's Sparkling Lychee 39 from Kayali, launching very soon. And then we've got Parfumum Roma's Gioiosa. It's I think it's an Italian word for joyful, I believe is what I remember seeing. It's amber, bergamot, coconut, jasmine, moss, orange, and vanilla. Sounds very interesting. Who's a fan of Parfumum Roma fragrances? And what are your favorite Parfumum Roma fragrances? Do let me know. Put your comment down below. But then Roja's got a new one called Bergdorf Goodman. So most likely it's going to be an exclusive for Bergdorf Goodmans. This fragrance features patchouli with musk, frankincense, cardamom, cinnamon, vetiver, cedarwood, coriander, neroli, ylang ylang, may rose, mayflower, jasmine, bergamot, mandarin. A lot of stuff going on with Roja Parfums fragrances. They're always very layers and layers of notes. And usually for me, the fragrance really comes alive and shines in the base notes. And we'll see how Bergdorf Goodman's is. And finally, Celine has something new. I've been waiting for a new Celine fragrance. It's been a year plus since they've launched something. Now we've got a cologne fragrance launching from them. It comes in a thinner bottle, Cologne Celeste, featuring notes of ambrette, angelica, lemons, neroli, orris butter, petitgrain. There's that orris butter again. It seems like they use quite a bit of orris butter or orris iris in all their fragrances. And once again, they're using it in Cologne Celeste. I did bump into somebody in France once, and they did say they have a few of these coming out, so we'll see when the next ones come out. But I do enjoy Celine's fragrances, and I'm definitely going to get my nose on Cologne Celeste, especially, is in the same style of their fragrances. The only thing about Celine I don't like is they don't disclose their perfumers, so I'm just wondering who creates these fragrances. But moving on to the house of Mise en Cire, we've got Alberto Morias's personal niche house run by his daughter, I believe. It's a new fragrance called Palisandre Night, or Palisandre. So it's notes of sandalwood with dreamwood, musk, patchouli, Spanish cistus, cypriol, elemi resin, gaiac wood, ambroxan, cetylox, and nutmeg. So we now have Mise en Cire fragrances selling over at ZGO Perfumery. So that's a great thing. Those of you that have been wanting to get your nose on these fragrances created by Alberto Morillas, you can walk into ZGO Perfumery and get your nose on them. Are you a fan of any of their fragrances, and what are your favorites? My favorite is still For Your Love. I do enjoy the ginger as well, and a few others, but I'm curious about a Palisandre Night as well. But before I move on to the next fragrance, I do have to say about Mise en Cire Tonic Water, their last fragrance. I hate it. Absolutely the worst usage of cologne. Cologne overdose. If you're a fan of cologne, get your nose on Tonic Water. I absolutely hated it. It smelled like fish, like fishy perfume. Anyway, moving on to the house of Hugo Boss. Hugo Boss's collection called The Collection, I believe. I do have one of their fragrances that I've done a short video on called Magnetic Musk. I actually sampled the entire collection. I felt they were pretty okay, not like exciting, but really fell in love with Magnetic Musk. It's a musky, powdery fragrance with a bit of a DNA of Dior Homme, like Dior Homme Intense. So they have two new fragrances, Passionate Chypre, which is a black cherry Chypre Accord moss fragrance. And then we've got Invincible Bergamot, citrus flowers and citrus fruits and leather. So these two, I'm curious to get my nose on them, and I want to circle back to the entire collection and smell them. I actually bought this at the Dubai airport. That's where I sampled every single one of them. So quickly, none of them jumped out at me. I felt they were a bit boring. But like I said, Magnetic Musk, really, really great fragrance. Go catch my short video on that. You can find out more about it. But moving on to the house of Olfactus Studio, last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about. There's a fragrance called Smoky Soul. I've actually gotten my nose on this one. It's a fragrance created by Marc-Antoine Corticchiato of the House of Parfum d'Empire. So it features Ceylon tea, vetiver, patchouli, kelp absolute, Turkish rose, jasmine absolute, black pepper osmanthus absolute. So I've gotten my nose on it. It's a very smoky, dark tea fragrance. Really enjoyable, but I'd like to test it out to see if I really enjoy this one, because I do enjoy tea fragrances, but then if it's too smoky and dark, might not be as inviting. But this is going into the leather cased kind of like a copper colored bottles, where the brand does 3 different fragrances from one perfumer, and they've done fragrances with Bertrand Duchaffoul, which was the first series. The second series was Dominique Ropion, and I believe this is going to be a collection of 3 fragrances with Marc-Antoine Corticchiato of Parfum d'Empire. Anyway, those are the 15 fragrances I'm talking about today. New fragrances. Which one sounds exciting to you? Which one sounds the best to you? And are you bored and overwhelmed with all these fragrances that are launching? Lots of them coming out. So we'll see if these land by Christmas in time for Christmas gift giving. But do let me know if these are exciting to you, and let me know if there's anything else coming out that you're excited about that I haven't spoken about. Put a comment down below so I can find out. Don't forget to stick around for the bonus section. And again, these bonus sections will be aired separately as well. But I'm grouping the fragrances as one of them is a lot of different fragrances, and one of them is a brand that I've never spoken about. But either way, guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Oh boy, Fornasetti. Who's a fan of Fornasetti? The candle maker, the candle brand who's been making these most beautiful, gorgeous candles, now are launching 3 fragrances. So Fornasetti is launching, or are launching, 3 fragrances. It's an Italian brand. These are the first 3 fragrances that are being launched by this brand for the first time. But their candles, as I said, are the most amazing jars. They come in the most beautiful jars with those kind of visuals of women and kind of hand-drawn and colorful, you know, painting and things like that on them. So I'm quite curious to see these fragrances. But let me know if you're familiar with this house, the candle maker, the candle brand. Put a comment down below and let me know if you've heard about their fragrances, or if this is the first time. If you're curious about these fragrances, which one sounds the best to you? So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is Frutto Proibito, most likely forbidden fruit is what it's translating to. So we've got ebony, myrrh, opoponax, oud, sandalwood, geranium, carnation, galbanum, jasmine, petitgrain, black raspberry, black currant, rhubarb, tomato leaves. So forbidden fruit sounds really, really great. I like the idea of the ebony and myrrh together, the oud and the opoponax, so it's resinous, it's ambery, lots of woods and aromatics, and finally we get to the fruits. So these are the forbidden fruits, the black raspberry, the black currant, maybe even the rhubarb, because to me it's kind of like a fruity note, even though it's kind of vegetal fruity together. And then the fact that it's vegetal and they also have the tomato leaves in here, that one really, really sounds exciting. So I'm curious to get my nose on it. The only thing that really kind of concerns me about this fragrance is the oud. And as I keep saying, a bit bored of oud, but I don't think the oud is the star of this fragrance. I like the fact that it's mixed in with some notes. It's basically there to help the fragrance along. But if it's going to be all about the oud, it might get boring to me. But let me know if this Fruto Proibito sounds great to you. But the next fragrance from Fornasetti is Imagination. Imagination is what it's spelled, so it's imagination. So it's vanilla, rosewood, oak moss, cedar, cyclamen, jasmine, tuberose, ylang ylang, aniseed, bergamot, blood orange, Sicilian grapefruit. This one, it's okay. This one doesn't sound as exciting, but aniseed is the part of the fragrance that sounds the most exciting. I'm not 100% sure where the aniseed will end up. Is it the most prominent note? Is it something that's just there to give it an accent or something? So this one I'm not as excited about, but of course, as I always say, sometimes I'm not excited about a fragrance and I'm excited about another one more. But then again, the one that I'm not excited about turns out to be the better one of the one that I wasn't, kind of a thing. So curious to get my nose on all three of these fragrances. I'm a big fan of their candles, and I'm really, really looking forward to these fragrances. But the third one is one that I'm quite excited about as well. Giardino Secreto, so Secret Garden. Tonka beans, lavender, geranium, juniper, thyme, cedar, patchouli, vanilla, amber, myrrh, oak moss, oud, and sandalwood. So they're using the myrrh and the oud again in this third fragrance, and it's once again the one that I'm excited about. And this one to me sounds a bit like a fougere, tonka, lavender, geranium, even juniper, and thyme. Kind of masculine aromatic notes. Tonka beans generally in the base notes for a fougere. Patchouli comes in as well. So it kind of seems maybe like a warm, amber, woody fougere. Who knows? But Giardino Secreto or Secreto sounds really great. So the two fragrances that I'm excited about are Fruto Proibito and Giardino Secreto, but I'm curious to get my nose on all three of them, as I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what Fornasetti does with fragrances. Most likely, though, these are going to be luxury, expensive fragrances because their candles are on the pricey side, so I don't know who's going to carry them, but here in San Francisco, we've got ZGO Perfumery carrying Fornasetti candles, and I believe Fornasetti also redid all their candles recently. I know Twisted Lily is their parent company is the distributor for Fornasetti, and they cleared out all their candles and they brought them back as a new redone candles. So makes sense that they're kind of now entering the fragrance market. But let me know which one of these sounds the best to you. The Fruto Proibito, Imaginacion, or Giardino Secreto. And if you're a fan of the brand or not, or if this is the first time you're hearing about Fornasetti in general. It's, again, a candle maker from Italy. I've always been really, really intrigued with their jars. The candle jars are most amazing. They look really great in the house. And again, now I'm really looking forward to Fornasetti fragrances. But lastly, I'm not so excited about their bottles. Their bottles seem a bit boring, not as attractive as their candles, What do you guys think? Let me know. Put a comment down below. But either way, thanks so much for tuning in today. See you guys later. Bye-bye. All right, are you a fan of the 4711 Aqua Colonia collection of fragrances? Are you aware that they are launching an Absolute collection of fragrances? They come in the same bottles, but all dark, noir, very, very beautiful black bottles. And there's 6 of the different fragrances in the collection, and all of them are created by a different perfumer. There's even a fragrance created by Julian Rasconnay, who I'm a big fan of. But there's Alexandra Monet, there's Musk Mark Buxton, and of course a few other perfumers that I'm not too familiar with. But I'm a big fan of the 4711 Aqua Colonia collection of fragrances, and I'm really looking forward to getting my nose on the Absolute collection of fragrances. Again, there are 6 of them. The first one I'm going to talk to you about is Vibrant Musk, and this one is created by Alexandra Monet. Obviously that they're doing a musk, this seems like they're more luxury upper end collection, so most likely these are going to be more expensive. But Alexandra Monet has created the Vibrant Musk. And this one, when you read the notes, it seems like they're using synthetic notes, molecular notes, to create a musky fragrance with cashmere wood, black pepper, that one's not synthetic obviously, but ISOE super, cedar, ambrox, musk, and nor limbinol. I'm quite interested in this one. This one sounds really great to me, and I can't wait to get my nose on this one. The second fragrance is called Orchid Vanilla, and Orchid Vanilla is created by Mark Buxton. Are you guys familiar with Mark Buxton? It's interesting. I got to speak to Mark Buxton. I've known him for some time. I've known of his fragrances, but during Beauty World Middle East in Dubai, he was at a booth for Lutzi, a firm that creates fragrances. There's perfumers working there, so you're a brand, you contract out their firm, and you get to work with a perfumer. So they were previewing all these gourmand fragrances in their most amazing looking booth. And so I got to speak to him. But so it turns out he's making a kind of a gourmand fragrance here for 4711 Aqua Colonia, and this is Absolute Collection Orchid Vanilla. So this features notes of musk, amber, bourbon vanilla, centifolia rose, jasmine sambac, orchid, peaches, freesia, and dewdrop. Dewdrop. What do you think about a dewdrop in a fragrance? So there's probably going to be a watery effect happening, a dewy effect happening in this Orchid Vanilla. Sounds really great. Vanilla has always been a favorite fragrance note of mine, so always going to check out anything with vanilla in it. So I'm curious about this one. But this next one doesn't sound as exciting to me. I'm excited for the overall collection, but with the notes, and I don't even know this perfumer, so don't know what kind of work she does. It's Mirella Pomina, but the fragrance is Midnight Sandal is what they say. So it's sandalwood, basically, midnight sandalwood. So is it a dark sandalwood fragrance? We shall see, but I don't know Mirella Pomina. Are you guys familiar with this perfumer? I'm not. It's the first time I'm hearing her name for this particular collection of Absolute fragrances from 4711 Aqua Colonia collection. But notes are sandalwood, amber, vetiver, Indian jasmine, heliotrope, cardamom, bergamot, ginger, coriander seed. If anybody's gotten their nose on these fragrances, I'm not 100% sure if they're launched. I don't think these fragrances ever make it to the States unless they go to the discounters. So we're going to have to wait for these to hit the discounters before we can end up with them. Otherwise, we're going to have to get them when we go to Germany, because this is a German brand. I don't even see this brand selling in France, so it's very hard to get, but I can always find them at the discounters, and I'm very curious to get my nose on this collection. We'll see what kind of price point they're going to have. Also, definitely going to be more expensive because it's the Absolute collection, so they're going to be higher concentration, even though they're Aqua Colonia Aqua kind of a thing. So we'll see. But the fourth fragrance launching from the 4711 Aqua Colonia collection Absolute fragrances is Amber Mandarin. Now I like this idea, Amber and Mandarin, although Hermes did that already. Didn't they do that already? Yes, they did. So this is a fragrance created by Miro Branimir Senjak. I also don't know this perfumer, but I like the sound of this one more than the last fragrance with the sandal. This has notes of musk, patchouli, amber, black cardamom, iris, osmanthus, orange, green mandarin, pink pepper. Yeah, I like the sound of this one. Definitely sounds great. The patchouli, the musk, the amber, the cardamom, of course the iris, the osmanthus gives it this fruitiness. Then of course oranges and green mandarin and pink pepper, the pepper giving it a bit of a spicy kick. So I'm curious, definitely curious about this one, but I'm also curious to see who Miro Branimir Senjak is. The fifth fragrance is Smoky Tonka. Tonka fragrances are great, but a smoky version of it, maybe it's good. Maybe it might go into a tobacco direction. Tonka, you get a bit of tobacco-ish, accords from it. So I feel like maybe they're going into a bit of a smoky tobacco-ish direction with this one, but it seems more gourmand. This is created by Daniela Marti. Once again, I don't know this perfumer at all. This has notes of praline, vanilla, Brazilian tonka beans, sandalwood, cinnamon, oaken barrel, green cognac, and bergamot. Does this sound great to you? Where's the smoke coming from? I don't know. We'll see. It does sound great to me. And then also, I don't know this perfumer either. I don't know who Daniela Marti is. If you guys know, if you've heard of this perfumer, do let me know. And if the Smoky Tonka sounds great to you, let me know. And then the sixth and final fragrance is a fragrance called Majestic Leather, created by Julien Rascanet. Yes, I'm a fan of his fragrances, and I'm a fan of leather fragrances, and I feel like Julien does great leathery fragrances, especially one for Van Cleef & Arpels called Orchid Leather. This is Majestic Leather. So this has notes of black leather, vanilla, patchouli, rose, Balkans tobacco, cypriol, cloves, plums, and saffron. Yeah, he does great work, and this one sounds really, really intriguing and interesting. I like the fact that it's tobacco along with the leather. There's vanilla here to sweeten things up. There's a fruity touch in here, which is great. Cloves and spices and things like that. Saffron to intensify the leather even further. This one sounds the best out of the bunch for me, and the one I'm familiar with the most as far as a perfumer goes. I like his work a lot. I love Orchid Leather, so I just hope this is going to be quite distant from Orchid Leather smelling, you know. Hopefully it's not going to be like similar, but the fact that it has plums makes me think it might be kind of similar to the Orchid Leather from Van Cleef & Arpels, but it could be a less expensive version of that fragrance, especially since this is more of a budget line, but a more expensive version of a budget line of fragrances. But yeah, Majestic Leather sounds really, really great, created by Julien Rascanet. But the whole collection, I definitely want to get my nose on it. If anybody's gotten their nose on it, do let me know. Put a comment down below so I can find out. But let me know also if you're a fan of this collection of fragrances. They have a ton of great fragrances. The Sunny Seaside of Zanzibar is a really great, fresh, tropical, warm kind of a fragrance with kind of beachy undertones and coconutty touches. And then the Awakening Woods is also really, really great. I really love that one. It's kind of a green, fresh, woody, aromatic, spicy fragrance. But there are some great fragrances from this collection. There's even the Aqua Colonia. There's Aqua Colonia Intense, and I think the two fragrances I just mentioned are from the Aqua Colonia Intense, but the regular Aqua Colonia collection, the Blood Orange, and I think it's Basil, is also really, really great. Great smell, very fresh, very refreshing. If you can find them at a budget price, do get them, because some of these fragrances are really, really great. I highly recommend them, especially if you like lighter fragrances, cologne-style fragrances, but with some interesting notes and characteristics with the fragrances. But again, also, do let me know if you've checked these out. Put a comment down below and let me know which one sounds the best to you. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today. Stay tuned for more videos later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.